Good evening, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I thought I'd do a quick update to the housing market, and I found a couple of charts here in the Federal Reserve that I thought I would share them with you today. The first one here is the housing starts total new privately owned housing units started. Anyway, this one I drew a blue trend line. Now it goes back to 2014, and you can see everything was rocking and rolling just fine, and then bam, we broke that trend line, and we haven't been able to get back up above it. The other one I have here is the privately owned housing starts 1-unit structures. And so kind of the same thing, pretty much the same story with this one. Now you can see I drew this one in with the channel, and you can see it was bouncing that channel just fine all the way up until, January 2018, and then bam, we broke the channel. We did pop up above it, but then there was a dramatic drop right after that. And yeah, so there's definitely a slowdown in the started structures. I just love that. What did they say again? It was housing starts total new privately owned housing units started. Anyway, one of the other charts that I like to look at is the monthly supply of houses in the United States. Now this is pretty much all the houses that are for sale divided by how many houses they actually sell in a month. And now this chart goes back to 2013, and you can tell that there's been a huge increase in the amount of monthly supply of houses, right? So like it was pretty steady all throughout these years, then all of a sudden, bam, we had this huge increase, right? And then it did drop off a little bit, but we're starting to pick up the monthly supply again. So that's telling me that either they're building houses that aren't selling, or houses are going on the market that aren't selling. Either way, or maybe there's just a lot of houses going onto the market. But either way, the monthly supply of is increasing, and it's increasing dramatically too. I mean, considering how steady it was pretty much for years, and all of a sudden, bam. The other ticker symbol, or the other chart that I have here, is a ticker symbol WOOD, W-O-O-D, and it's the Global Timber and Forestry ETF. And I really like looking at this one for tracking where lumber prices are headed, because 2x4s and half-inch plywood are a really good indicator of where the building industry is. If these things are selling for a lot of money, then generally the housing industry is booming. At least the construction industry is doing really well. If these things are selling for not so much, then probably the housing, or at least the construction part of things, have probably slowed down. So last summer, we saw 2x4s and half-inch plywood just go off the charts in price, right? Now, these are really good indicators because they're, like I said, they're basically the structure of the house that, like 2x4s are like the studs, the skeleton of the house, and then the plywood, the half-inch CDX, is like the skin that goes on that before, like the siding and everything else. So it's like the main structure of the building. It's like the main components. And so by tracking 2x4s, you can really see like where this housing market's going. So let me show you the ticker symbol, WOOD, right? And you can see with this trend line, with this channel, that we are on a downward trajectory, right? And now this really deep low right there in December, we saw 2x4s at that point get to the lowest I've seen them in a long time. Now, during the summer, they were selling for about $429 for a 2x4 8. In December, they got down to about $280, okay? And then half-inch plywood was going for $26.50 back in the summer, and during that December low, they dropped all the way down to $18.50. Now they have gone up just a little bit. Like the 2x4s, I think, are selling at like $290, and the half-inch plywood, I believe, is at like $19.10. So it has gone up just a little bit, and you can kind of see it here in this ticker symbol right there, where the prices have gone up. But then now you notice they're following that trend line back down, and I drew a secondary trend line right in the middle of the channel. I did it in purple at the peaks, because I think there's a new channel starting, and we're heading downward. Now, of course, lumber can only get so cheap before the mills just stop making it. Like, they have to get so much profit per board foot, or else they just stop milling. So and then the prices will go back up. But yeah, as far as this ticker symbol goes, and from the rest of these charts that I've noticed, especially with the slowdown in the housing starts total new privately owned housing units started, with the slowdown that's happening right there, and with the wood symbol, it just looks to me by these charts that we have a dramatic slowdown happening inside of the housing market. Now, I work at a lumber yard. I sell building supplies, right? It's part of, it's my living. And I can honestly say that over the last month, we have seen a huge uptick in the special order sales that we are doing, and there is a huge uptick in the amount of blueprints that have been coming in to have takeoffs done. And a takeoff is pretty much where you sit down and you figure out all the material for the house, and you give a bid on what the material is going to cost. So there's a lot of these things coming in, and now one of the other guys is also driving around looking for jobs in different places that might be starting homes. Looking for just different contractors out there, and he was pretty surprised on how many places are breaking ground right now. Now, normally breaking ground starts happening. Well, usually it kind of starts happening right about now, and then kind of pushes off into the summer, so that when you're framing during the better weather, because framing in pouring rain is terrible. But he said that he was out driving around and he was amazed on how many foundations he sees going in, and how much groundbreaking was taking place, getting ready to, like, excavations happening to the job sites. So anyway, chart wise doesn't look too good, but personally, from what I've seen, I would have to say the contrary. What I've seen personally at work, I see business picking up. So whether that continues on, we'll find out. Maybe it just might be the kind of an early boost to the early building season here. We have had some really nice weather up here, so that might be a contributing factor to the increase in sales. But anyway, we'll come back and revisit this here in a couple of months and see where we're at. All right, Uneducated Economist. We'll talk to you later.